Welcome back, everybody. We are back to do another little review here of a brand new anime movie that just literally hit the internet no more than like a day or two ago over on Netflix. And it honestly a movie that I have been, for the most part, very interested in, just because of the source material I love for at least a period anyway. And also, kind of live action anime movies have always been super hit or miss, or bare minimum okay. And honestly, no dissing with this one. And the movie I am talking about is the live action movie for Bleach. And yeah, it seemed a little out of the blue, especially with the whole, decline of the Bleach manga and anime kind of falling off the map here for a few years. And then suddenly we get a live action movie announced, which may or may not have always been in production long before Bleach kind of fell off the tracks into oblivion. But the question is, does the live action movie actually bring something interesting to the table? Is it actually accurate to the source material? And honestly, as a Bleach fan who kind of fell out of the anime in the mid-100-ish episodes, and is it something that's gonna actually bring back my original excitement for Bleach? And the same go for you as well if you was originally a Bleach fan, or let alone just coming to this blind. Let's cut that and go into detail of what I think is the ups and downs and what might actually be fairly decent about the Bleach Netflix live action movie. So for anyone who not aware of Bleach, Bleach is of course a property that's been around since the early 2000s in a shonen magazine. Kind of had a very much a upward climb of popularity around the same time as Naruto and One Piece. But unlike them series, Bleach kind of collapsed under its own weight in a lot of ways. Get a lot to it, and I recommend a video right over here in the cards for you guys to check out if you're interested in the rise and fall of Bleach in a lot of detail, because it's very convoluted and honestly we just don't have the time to go into that here. But for the movie itself, the movie honestly only roughly actually translate the full arc of the series, so roughly the full 13-ish episode up to the ending of running around doing his day job of Ichigo to preparing for the Soul Society. So the movie only cover, like I said, about 13-14 episodes of the original anime series, and even with that, it only technically cover only the beginning half and the later half. It's a lot of material that got cut here, and a lot of liberties that were taken that honestly is not that bad by any means. Don't get me wrong, we do have some casualties, which we will get to. But for the plot of Bleach is of course authority pick up with Kurosaki Ichigo doing what he do, pretty much taking care of punks and pretty much being the somewhat delinquent stereotype of most anime of the time period. And thank Yu Yu Hakusho in some ways here. Since Ichigo does have the power to see dead people, and because of that, he kind of get in fights sometimes. It might seem a little crazy to most people, but the story pretty much just pick up with him returning home, finding a strange lady in his house that happened to be a Shimigami, or a Soipo as they want to actually translate it to. But running into her, finding out that it's pretty much our job to help build it, return to the Soul Society, and of course slay demon type monsters that it went around eating souls of ghosts. And pretty much the story just escalate very quickly to the point of being super watched in the first like 15 or so minutes, burning through the first like episode and a half of the anime in like less than 13 minutes. So in return, the beginning it's super washy to pretty much get Ichigo introduced to, hey, you got power, this Hollow have attacked you because of it, and just want to eat you because your soul is yummy. And in return, why Rukia trying to protect him having to give all power over since you get injured in the fight to pretty much stay alive, which in return pretty much set the motion for the rest of the movie as a whole. Since the movie, from that point on, is where we start taking liberties. For anyone who either read the manga or watched the anime, you will know it's a giant, like, 12-ish, 10-episode gap there. Pretty much where Ichigo just running around, taking care of monster, introducing some of the side character. Pretty much just a lot of character building and introduction to the war itself. The movie kind of skip over that in some pretty bad way, which once again we will get to that in a moment. But it does take some liberties with it, and not just totally skip over to the Shimigami Society like epicness that come from the end of the full arc of the anime and manga. It actually do fill in that gap with Rukia, of course, pretty much banning out the universe, explaining to him what Hollow is, which we told him was actually a night they actually kept on doing artwork to try to explain it to Ichigo the best she possibly can with all very crappy drawings. Any of the fourth time you see it, it kind of just like a throwaway scene that just seemed like, here artwork for artwork's sake. But we do get a scene later on where she actually drawing and showing them to Ichigo, which we told him was a nice little touch there. So that was one of the very like comedic sides of Bleach, and also a good way to actually explain the universe in a dumbed down way that would make sense to Ichigo, who is, I don't want to say dumb, but not super intelligent. At the same time, actually showing off Rukia, like, I get more awkward side, and it's nice to actually see them carry that over into the movie. But where the liberty does come in is, of course, we get an introduction of Oboro and Winji pretty much almost out of the gate, almost like roughly like 20-30 minutes into the movie, and it really thought showing them more building up what the end up climax gonna be. You know, Ichigo must die since she just broke a whole bunch of rules. Human can't have Shimigami power, and the whole thing leading to a pending full sin. For anyone, once again, who have seen the anime or the manga, you know where that go with the Soul Society arc. And yeah, it actually was quite nice seeing that slow build up as the characters as the big bad, technically, without just bluntly rushing into it that the anime kind of seemed to do, with it just being a little more out of the blue. Don't get me wrong, the anime handled that very well. It's just actually nice seeing the movie kind of build up that a little bit. And in return, with the liberty that we took in here, like, okay, this is fine. Like, don't get me wrong, we skip out on a whole bunch of character introduction, a whole bunch of character growth up. But to try to make this a straightforward movie under 2-hour mark, it actually did a pretty good job of that. The downfall of all that is, of course, we do have some character being cut, Corny gone, and a couple other minor characters as well are gone, or just pretty much left to one line or gather about the movie. But we do get introduction of course, the Quincy and Chad as well. Chad as a character, not so much like, I get introduced the way he was in the anime of being pretty much Ichigo's main sidekick. But having him to kind of gather about in the movie actually does feel actually pretty decent as far like foreshadowing it for him as a character, especially as we get to the later half with him and Inahime during the final conflict. But we do have other issue, because we have the bigger issue mainly being Orihime, which is a pretty important character to the overall story, especially as we get farther and farther into the plot of the anime and the manga. Here, she seemed to be the worst character in the movie, because honestly, all interaction with Ichigo would pretty much boil down to the bare minimum, and every time you saw her, it was mainly all just whining and just being sad about being in love with Ichigo, but Ichigo seeming to be in a relationship with Rukia. Any of that relationship is literally along the lines of, hey, I need to train you or you're gonna die type of scenario. And it's just really sad to see your character dumbed down to just being the mopey lady in the background every once in a while. And just like, I feel bad for that character, because it's just literally what made Orihime so great would just dumb down to literally just the mopey girl in the corner who in love with the main character but don't do anything about it, and the main character too dent to realize it, let alone have the scene to actually make that make sense for Ichigo to have a thing for in the movie. So that is totally just like a wasted opportunity, and honestly super pointless, and just make a character just horrible, pretty much. Which in return, if you are a Hugh or a Hime fan, it's gonna be the fault, like, super, like, put off-ish thing about that movie. Like that, other side characters also have other issues, mainly with Orihime friend, Ichigo friends that cool. Like I said, they are more just background characters with one-liners that literally they just repeat like 4 or 5 times over and over, which get really repetitive and really dumb to appeal to what they was. And then we of course got the Quincy thing happening here, which in return throw another issue in with that movie, which is the pacing of hitting big points in the manga or anime just seems super wash. Cause with the whole Quincy thing, it just very quickly introduced along the lines of, hey, Quincy hate Shimagami, they killed our clan, we're gonna kill you all. And the having the Quincy we got actually being all like, hey, you know, I'm gonna kill you Ichigo, I need you to get better so I can challenge you to a fight, you know, get that rivalry going here. That is so a part of shonen comics, especially at that time. And in return to come across as super watch, and honestly, other than like a few lines, not a lot of detail given to the character, let alone what that character gotta do with Ichigo at the moment. It just feels like one of the plot devices that needed to be in the movie because it's kind of important, but in return not actually handle it. Just feel very shooed in here because it seemed to be a kind of iconic date, especially with the summoning of more Hollow to call Ichigo to run around the city having to fight distant Hollows and whatnot, which in return it just lead right back into the full real conflict of Ichigo and Wenji and of course Rukia making a deal with them of the whole thing of like, hey, give us, you know, give some time, get power back, come back to heaven, you know, pin for the sin and so on. It just really in return the whole Quincy stuff to feel very much as just a way to get a character from point A to point B. Without doing anything interesting with that material, and at the same time just being like, I get we gotta do it because this is something that the fans would want. And just come across as once again lazy and a waste. But with that being said, everything outside of the side character, outside of the Quincy stuff, the whole relationship of Rukia and Ichigo and the issue with Wenji and the Soul Society, all that it handled great. It just, like I said, it's just sad that I feel like we had to get the plot devices from the anime trolled in when big plot devices from the anime and manga got trolled out. It just seemed unbalanced in a lot of ways. But that is like the main issue with the movie as a whole. In the fourth like half, or by half I mean the full 13 minutes, it's super watch, and then like certain points, certain plot devices happen that just feel very jarring. Any more so if you don't actually know the source material. I hate to imagine what it'd be like for someone who don't know the source material. It just point that get iffy. But the good part of it, like I said, the Ichigo and Rukia stuff is fantastic, especially with Rukia. You really sensing the dread that she have, especially once Wenji and her brother show up and are playing, hey, Ichigo need to die, you need to come back to the Soul Society and do what happened there. And you really sense that urgentness in or like panicking and dealing with her own issue of breaking the rules of a Shimagami. Since throughout the movie you hear her talking about like Shimagami have a code, we must stick to it. And watching her as the movie go on, trying to tell Ichigo this stuff and seeing like the doubt in her eye, realizing like, you know, she pretty much calling the kettle black. And it's just a nice little character touch for Rukia to actually give a little more depth to her and a little more dread for her as a character of trying to wrap her head around the shenanigan that happening around her. And trying to find a way out of the best she possibly can and keep everybody alive doing so. So that is great. The only other issue is with Ichigo. The actor did a fine job with Ichigo. The only real issue I had with him as a character in this was him going on, especially when she show up and a point like, hey, we're gonna kill you, Ichigo. Him going into speech about, hey, you need to tell me the truth, you need to tell me what's happening, we gotta be honest here and whatnot. And then the whole time that it happening, like right after-ish, it literally the whole incident with the Quincy and all the Hollow attacking the town, and it just kind of like brought to the side, like, that's not important. And like, really, Ichigo, really, shouldn't you be telling her, like, hey, this kid that in school suddenly have a magical bow and trying to kill me? But once again, add any more detail to the whole Quincy thing being totally useless. And then I ain't counting what they do with the character in the final fight scene, which I won't bore, but let's just say it was lazy as lazy can be. But with that being said, the main conflict with Renji and actually using them as a plot device to get Ichigo in return fighting the Hollow who killed his mother, with that being the central standard of Ichigo character of being protected by his mother and or dying and being weak, and him realizing it was actually a Hollow who killed her, and the Hollow that supposed to be like pretty much the big bad in the Shin Megami War is the one that killed his mother, and like it's his job to technically get revenge for his mother and prove that he don't need or protection or anyone else protection, and at the same time trying to do pretty much what Rukia is, just trying to figure out a way to get out of this and keep everybody alive. So in return, the final conflict with the Grand Fisher, it's very satisfying and a very good little arc, especially to get to that moment and make that moment make sense with everything else that is happening in that movie. So good job on that end. And yeah, it just like the movie is good. I feel like if you're a Bleach fan and you still enjoy especially some of the early on bit of Bleach, it's something to find enjoyment in that movie. It's just a lot of little detail that just seem odd, or just the pacing just kind of seem a little all over the place in some moments. And you can tolerate the new stuff that's been brought to the table in that movie and can appreciate it of how well that stuff actually work in the combine of the fourth story arc of Bleach. You will have a great time. And honestly, other than that, not really any issue with the movie itself. The other nitpicky issues I can think of, though, is of course the music of this. The music of that movie, usually music is not sometimes called out all that much just because of, like, good music when you don't notice it in movies, and it add to the atmosphere of the movie. Well, in this, the music is not good, and honestly not really there on a lot of points. It's pretty much the same 3 songs, if that. I get 2 to 3 songs to kind of replay multiple times during fight scenes or some of the emotional scenes. It's like the effort of music is just not there. And even more so, especially with the Bleach anime soundtrack being fantastic, especially early on. There's a lot of iconic music there in the Bleach anime that for whatever reason they did not use at all in the movie. I don't know if they didn't have the right, they didn't have the time. I don't know exactly what the thing was here, because it might be more of a manga appealed to the anime scenario type of licensing deal. But either way it goes, the music itself is literally horrible in a lot of ways. Don't get me wrong, the fight music is okay, but it only kind of met the tone of Bleach. Well, everything else, by everything else, I mean like one of those songs don't really. And in return, it just kind of takes some of that heart out of Bleach. And yeah, it's sad for that, because like I said, Bleach had a fantastic soundtrack. And then, of course, we gotta talk about the CG, since this is very CG focused in a lot of ways. And honestly, the CG in it is way better than most CG and live action movie I have seen recently. So if you worry about crappy looking CG, you don't gotta really worry about that. And if you want to worry about like the fight choreograph, especially with the giant swords and whatnot, for the most part, it is good. It's not great. You're not gonna see anything super special here. But the fighting is get the job done, I get the way to put it. So yeah, fight scene okay, CG actually pretty good, music horrible, movie had pacing issue, original content great, and what they did to Orihime, yeah, that is the most horrible part of that movie. So overall, I recommend this if you are a Bleach fan. If you're not a Bleach fan, you might be a little confused here, especially in some of the facile cut throughout the story, but at the same time, that stuff is kind of, like I said, super pushed under the rug by the end of it. So I get the movie people don't care about that content. I get, why should you? I guess just enjoy the actual relationship with Ichigo and Rukia, and ride to the end of the fourth story arc, and especially with how they kind of wrap everything up at the end. Very much leave it open for a sequel, and honestly were quite smart the way they handle the incident after the big climax, which once again, for any of you anime or manga fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about, leading into the Soul Society arc. So yeah, with that, I think that's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna head on out, and that there is another review. If you are interested, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit the bell, and do the comments, and do all that jazz. And like I said, if you are interested in watching the fall and rise of Bleach, like I said, I will put the video up in the cards, hopefully to another YouTuber that will do all far better jobs than I would be able to do. So with that, I am out of here, and I will catch you that time. See you later, guys. Bye.